This episode of Mental is brought to you by Spas and More. Visit spasandmorestl.com for more information.
Sean, welcome to the show.
Corey.
I invited
What's
you
up,
on
man?
here because you're top 3 positive people I know
Ooh,
for like over a decade.
top 3?
For sure.
What number am I?
Number 1 in our heart. Number 3 on the field, number 1 in our hearts. I don't know the other 2, actually. I just know that there's probably 2 other people that I know that are fairly positive.
Right.
So I don't like to oust them. But before we get started, will you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you're from? You don't have to give your age. Just your name, social security number.
Well, my name is Sean Hall.
Yeah.
I'm originally from Little Rock, Arkansas. Born and raised. Moved here in 2006. Been here ever since. Lived in Ohio for 2 years and then moved back. I definitely try to live a positive lifestyle because I believe life is too short. And not only does every minute count, but there are less hours in a day and we have 24 hours. And you have to pinpoint when you have to do certain things, but you can always control what you can control and dwell on what you can control. So making everything positive, I just try to live it one day at a time and control what I can and push the negativity out as much as I can because there's so much negativity. And that kind of just exerts on others as well.
Yeah.
And
It's contagious.
it is contagious.
Both ways are, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like when you're walking around with a chip on your shoulder, man, outwardly, I've always been a fairly positive dude. But those who knew me more intimately knew that I was never like an angry man, but I was pretty cynical.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
like very judgmental, and all because of just wounds that I had, just wearing all this armor. And so it would project and I would be defensive about everything. And what I've noticed is since I've started keeping a positive mindset, like you're saying, and typically that starts with a gratitude for me, is I don't care to be judgmental about others anymore. I'm indifferent.
Yeah.
I'm indifferent about their opinion towards me and vice versa. Just let
Yeah.
people be who they're going to be,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But where do you think you've adapted that at? Was it always something you had?
It was always something I had, but I also have a son. Mm-hmm. His name is Titan. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge Tennessee Titans fan. But also I do love Greek mythology.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. But
So where your Titan
mother
begot another god?
tis it so?
Yes.
But his mother, we used to be married, and it was like I've always had it in me. But then when we got divorced, it was like one of those. It was one of those weird divorces, I like to say, because usually when people get divorced, it's always the normal cliche of, you know, they hate each other, they don't want to do this, they don't want to work with each other, and then if they have children, the child gets affected by that. And they get neglected, and it's just a bad thing. So they never think about the child. So when we got divorced, it was like, well, no matter what, you know, just because we couldn't work it out, it's nothing wrong with that. We want to give the best life to Titan as much as we can. And we will always be cordial with each other. We will always be adults, and we would always be the best parents that we can be for him. Because ultimately, it's all about him.
Right.
It's not about us. And so ever since then, it was just kind of like, that's what we've always done. And we continue to do that. I mean, she's like one of my best friends. And when we both want each other's happiness, and when that's the case, and when you think about that, and that's the forefront, well, Titan's the first, but It's like, if she's happy, then that translates to Titan's happiness.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
That makes sense. I feel that way about my son's mothers. Like, it's an extension of your son. Mm-hmm. Especially with my youngest one. There's times where people are like, oh, you're still doing X, Y, Z, or you do this together or whatever. I'm like, yeah, because that's what the child wanted to be selfish not to do certain things.
Right.
Now, there are some boundaries that I've set, I say recently, but just about like how we speak to one another or communicate. But that was actually a really positive thing. Mm-hmm. I used to be very afraid of boundary setting. I think it was because I was big on abandonment.
Yeah.
And so like I didn't have any boundaries because I was always trying to conform and be agreeable to a fault, and then it would build up, and then I'd push out. Mm-hmm. So when you had originally done that, did you have to set both positive and other boundaries, right? I mean, you have to establish how you want to be treated.
Just piggybacking back to what you said originally, have I always had it? Yes, I've always had it. I'm the middle child of 4.
I thought you were going to say third generation happy person.
Only in my back pocket.
I'm actually third generation positive. My whole family's positive.
It's not many of us. I'm just saying.
Yeah. We laugh a lot.
But I'm the middle child.
Okay.
And so if you know about middle children, they're tough. Because they
don't feel seen.
That's right, and they get the bulk of the older children that always pick on them, and then they're also not the baby, so they don't get the attention of the baby. But ironically, I happen to be the favorite in my family. I'm just saying, I don't know. Some people have heard, but anyway,
Brother and sister?
Huh?
Brother and sister?
So older sister, older brother, and I have a younger sister.
Oh.
Yep.
So you're not really the middle. Like you're the mean. There's 2 of you in the middle. Okay.
Still the middle.
Still the favorite. That's all that really matters.
That's all that really matters.
Yeah.
But no, so it's like I've always had it in me, but at the same time, when I was married, I wasn't really fully myself. And I wasn't able to be myself because I really was focused on trying to be someone else for her. Mm. And that took a little bit away from who I really am, And so...
In a textbook way or specific to that relationship? In my textbook, what I mean is like, did you have an image, like probably many of us do growing up, of what a husband's and father's role was, and that you were trying to do that?
Yeah, so I'm from the South.
Yeah.
And in the South, we don't believe in divorce.
Yeah.
It's like the normal, typical, like I grew up Southern Baptist. Mm-hmm. And it's like you're with someone, you marry them, you have children, and you never get divorced, and that's it.
And if you do try and secede, there's a battle.
Right. I
don't know if you're familiar with the Civil War.
Yes.
But divorcing of sorts.
Yeah. But it's just that's how we're brought up.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think it's any kind of strongly religious area.
Yes.
It's going to be a marriage is biblical in nature.
Yes. So I never thought we would get divorced. And she had Titan before we got married. Mm. So it was like one of those. I'll never forget. It was like I was working at this place called U.S. Pizza. It's like centrally located in Arkansas. Okay. And I was a server, and it was a guy. It was an older couple, and I'll never forget. Like just very traditional. I never forget. When there were some of my regulars, and I was, we were talking and stuff, and I told them about like she was pregnant with Titan, and verbatim, word for word, he was like, "Oh, really? Well, congratulations, Sean." I was like, "Well, thank you so much." He said, "Well, you better make an honest woman out of her."
Yeah.
Like, that's just how it is, And I still heard those words, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I got to marry her," because that's how we were brought up.
Right.
So, so going back to after my divorce, it was like I kind of rejuvenated myself. I reinvented myself to the person that I am today. And it was like, man, life is too short. It's so much negativity in this world. Mm-hmm. And that divorce, we went through a lot as well. Even though it was very, cordial, it was, 50-50 everything, right? Everything fell into place and nothing was really, really negative. But it turned me into the type of person that you don't see a lot of positivity in the world all the time. And it's like, that's something I really, really want to focus on. So I started doing these positive videos, you know, these 1 minute, really quick. I may have some music in the background, and I would it ended up to be like because my birthday is in February, and it ended up being like a month thing. And I was like, let me just try this
month
for
thing, what do you mean?
Just for a month. I'm gonna do it for a month.
28 days.
Yeah. I was
Shortest month.
Yes, shortest month.
Good one to experiment inside of.
It is Black History Month. So yeah, it was just it was just like,
That's probably another thing the South decided.
Yes.
Let's give them February.
Right. Absolutely. So I said, let me just try this out, see how it is.
Yeah.
You know, something new, because I have a large, extensive improv, acting, and like modeling background, more improv than anything. And so I was just like, let me just see how it goes. So I did 1 minute videos, and it's kind of like what we call today YouTube shorts, similar to that.
Yeah.
But 1 minute video, and I just talk about whatever. Just talk about whatever. Talk about my day. Talk about God. Talk about anything, whatever's on my mind. But it was more predicated towards just positivity.
Okay.
So it was like, tell me something you did today that was positive. It was like, hey, you know, I got a PSA, a public shun announcement, you know, and I would talk about some driver,
right.
or I'd talk about like, you know, the sun is shining today. Like, thank God for another day. What are you thankful for today?
Yeah. Dropped an ice cube on the floor, didn't kick it out of the fridge.
Yeah.
Picked it up and put it in the sink.
It's just, and it started generating with just me talking about my day,
okay,
and just thoughts in my mind to people reaching out. And then I was like, where's this coming from? You know, because I was doing this because of me reinventing myself, and also just producing that positivity out. But in the back of my mind, and a special place in my heart, I also felt like I am reaching other people that need this as well.
Sure.
You know? So when the feedback started coming, it was like I would get messages on social media, and I would get personal text messages. And then I would get people that would probably see my story, because I would put on my stories. I would get people that would see my story, but they wouldn't say anything. And so when I would go out to dinner or go out to a bar or whatever like that, then they would see me, and they would tell me face to face, like, man, Sean, I was having a bad day, and I just saw your video, and it just made me in the best mood. Thank you. You keep doing what you're doing. And it started happening a lot. And I was like, wow, okay, like I'm reaching people. This really feels good.
It's that starfish kind of mentality, right? Are you familiar with that?
I've heard
of it.
it.
Talking about where the little girl's throwing the starfish in the ocean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just, it was kind of overwhelming, but at the same time, I was like, this is what I love to do. This is what I love, making an impact in people's lives. And I started really noticing that I do that. And it just kind of took off from there, and I still continue to do it. I mean, gosh, like 6 years later, I think. And it got to a point to where it was that month, and then it got to where I was like, okay, well, I got good feedback on this. I'm gonna keep doing it. And then it was like 6 months, then it was a year, and then I try to do them every day.
Yeah.
Because they're just so short.
Yeah, you're gonna miss some though.
You're gonna miss some, definitely.
How important do you think your authenticity is to that situation? This is why I ask. I, as you know, had recently kind of, I wouldn't say reinvented myself. I was hell-bent on healing myself. I reached my enough's enough moment. I had to stop blaming my circumstances and my traumas and everybody around me, and really get super honest with myself. And so I started doing like a TikTok thing every day. And I was like, I'm gonna do 365 of these. And like some days on there, I was like crying on the thing. Like I was like, because I think we talked about this yesterday, how like you didn't see like Tony Robbins when he was kicked in the dirt. You saw Tony Robbins as like, all right, let's go, guys, like in his giant hands.
Right.
But you know how before his hands got so big, what was he doing, right? And so I was like, I'm just gonna do this. And then I had some great feedback, and it was encouraging. And then I had some negative feedback, and I deleted everything. I just collapsed within myself. And that was before I started doing this. And then, like you said about, being seen, but your background was in all this modeling and acting and different stuff, even if it was just for funsies, I wasn't comfortable enough with myself, despite what I may have portrayed, to do this kind of a thing until I truly got to a place where no one else's opinion mattered. Right? My favorite saying about that is Jay-Z, actually, when he says, "What you eat don't make me shit." And I really started thinking about that a lot. And I'm like, yeah, who cares who criticizes? Who cares? Like, because there's other people that are affected in a positive way.
Right.
And so, counterintuitively, I was like ready to jump in the spotlight and do the show once I stopped needing affirmation from everybody around me versus doing it to gain affirmation. And I think that's the difference. And with what you do too, that's the reason I asked about authenticity, because there's something authentic about it when you're doing it for you.
Right.
It impacts others, but you're doing this for you.
Right.
Because is it like a birthday song kind of thing? Do you know what I mean? When you like, if you're mad, you ever make Titan like sing when he's mad? So when Blair used to get upset when he was little, I'd be like, sing the birthday song. And he'd be like, no, I'm not gonna sing the birthday song. And his voice wasn't that deep, but he was like, no, I'm not gonna sing birthday song. I'm like, you're gonna sing the birthday. Yeah, he's like, you're gonna sing the birthday song. Because it's real hard to stay negative when you're doing something positive.
Right.
So has there been days when the authenticity is about the transformation within yourself? Like you get up and you're positive just because you're not feeling positive?
And I will still do videos, and I have done videos, even when I'm not extremely fully positive.
Yeah.
Because authenticity is very important. You know, like you should always be yourself.
Yeah.
Period. In life, in a relationship, anything, business, always be yourself. You know, when you tend to act a certain way for other people, and just like what you were saying, it never goes the right way because it's just it's a facade that you're doing, you know. And when you are authentic, it's just it feels right because you're like, this is me, you know. And you hear a lot of people say, you know, hey, this is me, take it or leave it. Well, it's not really like that. It's just if it's supposed to be and you're supposed to be, then you should always be yourself, you know? So I think that's really important because, yeah, I've done videos where I was not having the best day, you know? And the devil stays busy, as we all know.
It was a good Southern saying.
Like, I'm telling you. But still to this day, I get people that say, how are you so positive? And I go back and say, how are you not?
You will it, right?
You know? Yeah, it's just like, it's like what we talked about yesterday, how everything starts in your mind.
Yeah, where you're dwelling on.
You speak into it existence. Titan loves to say how I speak stuff into existence all the time. And he's like, Dad, don't say that. We'll be watching a movie or we'll watch a game. And I'm like,
yeah,
man, they're not going to score that touchdown. Watch. He's like, Dad, don't say that. And they don't score the touchdown.
Yeah.
And he's like, be quiet, you know? But it's like, it starts in the mind first. And so when you wake up and you be thankful for whatever, you have that mindset of, I'm going to make this a great day. I'm going to do this today. I'm going to be positive. I'm not going to let this affect me. That helps. That's where it starts, you know? But like I said, still to this day,
it's like a
people
subconscious
say,
manifestation.
Still to
you're
this
putting
day,
your little workers to work doing positive things
right
inside there.
Right. But yeah, people are like, how are you always positive? All the time. And I'm like, life is too short. Like, why are you not, you know? And I've even had people say, you know, I just see your positive videos and it's just, it gets on my nerves. Yes. Yeah. And I'm just like, what's going on in your life that you have to feel like that and also exert those words to say that to me?
I can tell you.
You know?
Because I lived that way for like 38 years.
Yeah.
It's difficult to face authenticity and joy when you're not being your authentic self and miserable. Because like I said, you've known me for a long time. Most people wouldn't have thought of me as like chronically depressed, but I absolutely was. Whether I was showing it outwardly or not, I was a miserable dude for a long time. And the reason that people get pissed off with happiness and authenticity is because in my experience, I'm obviously not a mental health professional by any means, but in my experience, it was because I was jealous of it. I wanted to be authentically happy. I wanted to be blissful in my day. The realization of letting go of things you can't control has been hugely beneficial to being positive, because things happen and it used to wipe me out for 2 days or a week because it was a negative event. Whereas now I'm like, okay, what can I do about it today or this week? Nothing at all. All right, cool. So I have like a little worry journal that I keep in my bed. And in the morning, if I'm stressed out about something, I write down and I figure out what I can do about it. And a lot of times it's nothing because it's not that big of a deal, right?
Yeah.
Like, how is this going to affect me week? Probably not. And then immediately after I close it, I pray in gratitude. Switch that mindset over. And it's been game changer. Because yeah, it was hard to face the light of somebody who was truly had inner peace and inner happiness and inner joy when all of my stuff was on the outside and was not real. There was no true happiness inside me. It was all this fake.
Yeah.
So that's why it pisses people off.
Yeah.
Because until you find that, you are jealous of it.
And negativity is so easy to acquire. You know, it's like the golden ticket on the Polar Express. It's like not everybody's
Are
going
those
to
easily accessible?
not everybody's going to get a golden ticket,
Oh.
but you can easily get on that train with negativity because
Okay, got
it's
it.
so easy to get in there.
So it's easy to sneak onto the train.
It's easy to sneak.
I'm just
on
not
the train.
familiar with the film. But it's not, like it's easy. Like golden ticket. I'm like, that sounds pretty exclusive. Sean.
You never seen Polar Express?
I've seen it, but
Okay.
neither one of my sons were into it enough to where like it's not a Christmas tradition.
I see.
Like I watched it once, the animation bothered me, and I don't believe
Okay.
I've ever watched it again.
Oh my God, that's one of Titan's favorites. We
Really?
used to watch it all the time, and then he actually had like the train. Yeah, my nephew has a train as well. They used to put it, you know, the typical train under the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Well,
was like
Blair
the
and
Polar
Titan are the
Express.
same age, and I forced him to grow up the same way I did visually, as far as like Thundercats on DVD and stuff. Like, and so we were Christmas time. We were always
Same,
watching
same.
the claymation
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
I forgot there was like one person that did most of those. I forgot who it was.
Okay.
but-
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Same,
Polar Express.
Same thing. But yeah, Polar Express was
Creeped me out.
huge, man. It was huge. And the Polar Express experience here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got so excited.
I startle
Got the
easy.
bail.
I startle easy. Sometimes Tyson will scare me twice in one passing. I was pouring cereal one time, and the way my kitchen is, like, you can come down the hallway, and it's a kitchen entrance. You can go around the dining room, it's another kitchen entrance. And I was, like, getting his cereal ready. He like, comes around the corner, he's like, Dad. And I'm like, ah! I drop the box, and then he, like, goes around, like, within seconds. And I'm like
Gets
pouring
you-
milk.
he
And
gets
he's
you
like,
again?
Dad! And I'm like, ah! Milk. He loves it. I startle easy.
Oh, that's funny. I remember that.
Yeah, I'm an easy startler. So when you got all hyped about the Polar Express, I was like, ah! It's like one of those cats.
But they do the experience downtown, which is like extremely expensive.
I've done it once when it
Yeah.
first started.
Yeah, and it's really nice if you love the movie. It's a nice experience, but
I'm getting in PJs and all that. And it was
Yeah.
cool little like
yeah,
memory for the kid.
right.
Yeah.
So that was,
But it
pretty
was
nice.
ridiculous. I feel like maybe that's a side business we should start. Just buy an old box car. I know for a fact that you can get old box cars for like under 10 grand. It can be stationary and you just have a projector in the front and
That
just tell a
shows the
story.
shows the Polar Express.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, dude, wait. Don't steal this. But universe. But yeah. But then like seasonally you could do like old Western. You could have like a Western theme and have like a bourbon tasting.
Oh,
and,
yes.
And watch like old Western movies on
Oh,
that same
yeah.
screen in the train.
Yeah,
Yeah. Or
and you have like
Under Siege?
cigars.
2 with was it one or 2 with
It was one.
what's his name that doesn't
Steven
really know
Seagal.
karate? Yeah. It was 1. He was on a train, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, and then Money Train.
Bullet Train.
He was on a bullet train. Or is a bullet train a movie?
And Bullet Train's a movie, but Money Train.
Money Train's a good one.
What was that one where they?
We could reenact that one.
What was the one where they had all the
But just to
assassins?
throw people off, I'll be Snipes.
Was that Money Train? Where they had all the
You be Woody
assassins?
Harrelson.
I think it was a Bullet Train.
It was by Bullet Trains. I've never seen it. I've never seen a film with several assassins on a train.
Oh, okay.
Goldeneye.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Oh, remember the game?
You could play it on the train.
Nintendo 64.
I'm gonna look into this train thing. We're gonna talk about it off camera.
That'd be dope.
It would be kind of cool.
Park it at Union Station.
I actually know a place, a buddy of mine who owns the landing hub in Pacific, Missouri. Shout out to them. They also put up all of our guests that fly in from out of town for any of our studios.
Okay.
And Pacific, Missouri is like a big train, like it's a train place. Mm-hmm. I don't wager to understand why, but it is, and I bet you it would go.
Isn't Pacific in the name? Like some type
Union
of railroad?
Pacific?
Yeah.
I think it was around before then, though.
Yeah.
I think that was because it started at the Pacific Ocean. I could be wrong,
Okay.
but I'm almost positive it started because it came. Remember when they united the railways with a gold spike and an iron? And we weren't there, but we read about it. Right? Like when they united the railways in the Midwest. There's so many possibilities.
We were in the bleachers.
I digress, though. Yeah, we were on the 5 bleacher stands. That's like Henry's tooth.
John,
like,
that's my cousin.
You're from Arkansas, aren't you? Speaking of trains and gold, my grandmother told me a story.
John Henry.
You said John Henry? Where did he come from? He wasn't part of that.
No, it was
His story
John
was
Henry was a.
I know who he is.
Yeah.
He was the railroad man.
Right.
He had a heart attack trying to compete against that machine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sad story. Sad story. My grandmother told me that when they were young, their parents used to tell her and her sister not to smile on the streetcar. St. Louis used to have streetcars, right? They said, don't smile on the streetcar because the homeless people will count your teeth. And I was like, what an incredibly creepy, probably one of the creepiest things I've ever heard in my life.
Like some Hansel and Gretel type shit.
Yeah, but it was because they would look for, they didn't have like enamel stuff back then, so it would just be a gold tooth. So you smile and you have a gold tooth, and a homeless person apparently was likely to follow you and get that tooth.
Give me that.
Any which way they can. But I was like, man, what a creepy thing to hear. Wow. 2 little girls are going into town, they're like, don't smile on the train.
Yeah.
Homeless people will count your teeth. It's like, what? What kind of
I've never heard of
hills
that.
have eyes crap is that?
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, well, luckily it doesn't still, I think you can smile on trains now.
I hope so.
You'd have trouble not.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. Stay off them trains, Sean.
I laugh at a lot.
Yeah.
As,
I'm too positive to be on this train. Is there any homeless people here?
Tell me now.
I'm going to ride up front. Count them.
My really good friend Val, he's like, he's one of those people that he's so funny. Mm-hmm. Still to this day, I mean, I've known him for, 15 plus years. Still to this day, we try to get him at amateur night on like Funny Bone or something like, just stand-up comedy. He's that like good.
Yeah.
And he has like these one-liners and he says things and we're like, oh, write that down. Just because we like, this is a bit, right?
Yeah.
But every single time he says something, and it's funny, but I know I can laugh a lot at just some of the littlest things.
Yeah.
And he loves to say, Sean, if I ever have a joke or if I ever have something that it just bombs, right? I can always count on you because you will always laugh at it. And he's like, I know it's good. I know it's good with you, and that's all. That's enough for me. Yeah. And I'm like, hey man, like, look at this. Look at this body. I laugh a lot. You lose weight when you laugh.
Do you?
Well, you're burning calories.
That's what you.
I don't laugh like that.
Unless you're working out.
That was kind of like the diaphragm laugh.
If you're working out. It's a new class. You can teach that one on the train.
Yes.
Laughing for abs on the train.
The question here, how do you laugh? Do your shoulders go up and down, or do they stay put? You tell me.
Real question, or are you talking about for your class?
I'm just saying just for the class.
Yeah, because you got to put them accordingly.
Right.
All your shoulders get in the back, so you're not disruptive. All your shoulder movers get in the back, so the non-shoulders can still see. Otherwise, all the guys would be up front. And
you have someone
back
that's,
here.
you have someone that's
I'm sorry.
5'2".
He's moving his shoulders too much. I can't see what we're doing next.
They're like 5'2". They're doing this. I can't see.
Yeah. You're like, it's a listening class, actually. It's here to make you laugh. Just use your core.
Right.
Focus on the core.
Oh, that's that's a bit.
That's a bit.
That's a bit.
Signed, sealed, delivered.
Oh,
we had a comedy night up here not too long ago for charity, and so me and some of the other comedians were back here getting something together. And there's a lot of games that are played within the stand-up world, especially if it's an open mic night. So one that we used to play was see how long you can go without telling a punchline and not get booed.
Okay.
And generally speaking, you have 4 minutes. And depending on what your perspective is of 4 minutes, it's a long time to talk. And there was just one kid, man, I don't remember his name, but he's very Woody Allen-esque. And he acted like he was cleaning the microphone stand. And he got away with all 4 minutes. And nobody in the audience laughed at all or clapped or anything. And then all of us in the back were just standing ovation because we were like, that was amazing, that was brilliant. Because he was and he'd wipe the mic down. He's wipe it for 4 minutes. And nobody caught on.
The whole time.
It was brilliant. I love stuff like that. I like real common stuff.
Right.
To me is funny.
Yeah.
Like when old people say things like, it's Wednesday, when you ask them how you doing today? And they're like, it's Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't remember reading how I'm supposed to feel on Wednesdays. But everybody feels the same.
Right.
It's generally a certain type of person. But we'll leave that to another day.
Just like what people say about Mondays.
Like in the restaurant industry? Is that what you mean? Yeah. But actually it was opposite. I'm talking about white dudes. They'll be all right. They've not been offended for hundreds of years. They're gonna go right through that joke and they'll still be fine.
Excuse me.
They can handle it.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's the ones. The old white dudes.
Yep.
Hanging in there. From what? It's noon.
Yeah.
How rough was the first 6 hours of your day, John?
On a Tuesday.
Yeah. Jeez. That's rough.
Oh gosh.
So, with your positivity being early on, just a positive kid, but then shifting that mindset. So one of the things that I like to think about or try and learn from others is what has been synonymous with keeping up that positive mindset. Is there a phrase that you think about? Is there a mantra that you have? I mean, I know you said life's short, but when you're not feeling like you're being positive, is it just become a habit, or what are you doing? What kicks you back into that positivity?
So with me creating the positive videos and doing that, I coined this phrase that I always say on my videos, and it's always surround yourself in a positive atmosphere around positive people.
Yeah.
And I say it every single video. Hashtag it, all that stuff. And it started to become this thing where it's kind of like something you say that kind of triggers something in your brain to where it's a start from, to say someone has an issue with trying to become positive or thinking positive.
Okay, yeah.
You say that phrase, that's your start. And then you just kind of go along from there. And it kind of sets you up in the mindset from the beginning, because it starts in the head. It sets you up from the mindset of, okay, what do I need to think about? What do I need to do? Always surround yourself in a positive atmosphere. So you can control what you can control. Everything else, put in God's hands. So it's put yourself in a positive atmosphere. If you are in an atmosphere where you are not positive, or the atmosphere is not positive, then still have the mindset of, let me see what I can figure out, or let me do something that is positive in this atmosphere, and make it a positive atmosphere for you personally.
Or maybe understanding that it's temporary. Right?
Yes. Yeah. So always surround yourself in a positive atmosphere around positive people. So just like they say, we are what we eat, you are also a product of the people you include yourself around as well.
Very much so.
You know? So if you are around negative people, people always complaining, people always talking about they don't have this, people jealous of this, people envy of this, that is what you're going to exert onto your body, onto your life and your lifestyle, you know? But if you surround yourself with positive people, then they are going to help you grow. They're going to help you, you know, succeed. They're going to help you be in that positive mind state. And once again, you are in control of that. So if you put yourself in that position, that's another thing I say. Always put yourself in a position, you know, if always put yourself in a certain position, then you never have to worry about it. So you put yourself in that positive position, you don't have to worry about the negativity because you're already there.
Oh, you're saying once you're in that positive mindset.
Yes. Yeah. So, but also with the choices you make, you know, you get to a certain age where
Men of a certain age.
You get to a certain age where there are some things that you do and there are some things you don't do and there are some things that you know you shouldn't do. Just saying. So, not you personally, I'm just saying.
No, I know, but I'm still trying to figure it out.
So, there are some situations that you can put yourself in that you're like,
Oh, you're generalizing.
yeah.
Okay,
That
yeah,
you can
sure.
put yourself in that I probably know that something may happen.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
But I'm going there still.
Okay, so
know?
like I won't stay at a bar. Well, man, if I go to a bar ever, but I won't stay at certain places past like 10 o'clock.
Yes. Absolutely.
I also know, like, you know, yeah, like you're saying, yeah, that makes sense.
You know?
My grandfather used to say, if you didn't get it done by midnight, it's not going to happen by 2. So there's no reason to be late.
Yeah.
And that's real true about a lot of things. So
My
it's
mom-
like putting themselves in those
My
situations.
mama always says, nothing good happens after.
Sorry, it was just very Bobby Boucher of you.
No, you're fine. My mama.
All I
No,
get is
she
a
said-
zombie because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush.
she said nothing good happens after midnight.
That's right. And it is right.
You think about it. I mean,
Yeah.
you know?
You may have the exception to the rule like 3 times out of your 40 plus years on Earth, but
Right.
it is, yeah, certainly not the exception. Like I always told my son when he was coming up in high school age, I was always like, hey, about kind of that mindset and your friends and all that stuff too is no one ever called me and thanked me for being drunk. You know? So if you're thinking about being the guy at the party that's going to get down with the rest of the people, think about it. No one ever called me and was like, hey man, great job being wasted last night. It was really fun having you around.
Yeah.
In fact, quite the opposite.
That's the truth.
I was terrible. I remember one morning waking up from a house party, and I had like buddies strewn about the house, and there was a hole in the wall, and there was like stains on the carpet, and I was like, man, what happened? Who did all this? My buddy was like, dude, you were knocking people's drinks out of their hands, telling them to leave, and then you punched a hole in the wall. And I was like, oh, cool. Great.
Wow.
So obviously some unresolved traumas back then too. But that was one of the reasons I had stopped drinking a long time ago is because like alcohol, talk about a way to kickstart your negativity. Oof.
Yeah.
Woof. You've never really been a big drinker.
Never. I'm still not.
Yeah.
It's always been social. Like
Yeah.
it's just
Me either.
and I tell people
But with the still part. I wasn't like as a kid.
Yeah.
You were there.
Yeah, definitely. But I tell people I drink to drive home drinker. So I'm not getting wasted. I'm not getting drunk.
Right.
I love to always know what's going on. I have a little bit of OCD, but I'm also very detail oriented with a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Where like I try to be so many steps ahead of every situation, and I try to be prepared as well. So 9 times out of 10, if something happens, I've thought about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, yep, you know.
I write
I'm,
scenarios.
I'm not perfect or anything, but it's
No.
like, you know, I'm always thinking about the outcome.
Yeah.
And in a crisis situation, I'm that calm person.
Yeah.
When everyone's freaking out or whatever like that, I'm the one, hey, let's go here. Let's do this. Be calm. No, I'm just that person.
Sure.
So, and I think I get that from my mother because she's a retired teacher, you know.
So
But
she dealt with a lot of
there were a lot.
kids all at
A
once.
lot.
Yeah.
A lot of nurturing, a lot of, hey, taking care of, you know, stuff like that. So it just got, you know, it was it got to the point to where that's how I've always done it. And I have a lot of information on a lot of things, but when it comes to information of stuff that you put inside of your body and what type of lifestyle you want to live, I've always been very knowledgeable about that. So I know my tolerance, I know what works, I know what doesn't work, and I know what I shouldn't do as well. But yeah, I've always been just a sociable drinker, but just like not getting too wasted. I can count on one hand how many times I've got wasted. Like
I can do that after the age.
That's how less.
Yeah, after the age of like 30, I can do that. My early 20s was pretty chaotic. Mm-hmm. But and the further I go too, like there's been times within the last, let's call it 3 years, where I'll have 2 drinks and I'm just like, this is miserable. Mm-hmm. So I rarely ever drink anymore.
Yeah,
and it's certainly not my focal point.
Right.
Then you talk about who you hang out with, especially in my 20s, it was like I never set out to do something that is centered around drinking. Mm-hmm. Like if people were like, oh, let's go to the winery or let's go to whatever, let's go out and happy hour, have drinks. Like my one buddy, this was in like the last 5 years, but he was like, you want to meet up for some drinks at 9 o'clock? I said, you mean leave the house at 9 o'clock to start something?
Oh my
Absolutely
God.
not, sir.
Like 9 p.m.
Like how old do you think we are?
Yeah.
This was like in our late 30s. This was like 38 or higher. And he was like, let's meet up at such and such Mexican restaurant at 9. And I was like, I'm not meeting you anywhere at 9. Like once I'm home, I'm home. Mm-hmm. And you're lucky to catch me out past 8 unless I'm at an event that I'm supposed to be a part of.
Yeah.
Oof, 9 o'clock. Got me all wrong. Got me all wrong. So one of the things I like to do in closing is, well, 2 things. Because one, I want people that haven't seen it or don't know about it, and we'll put this at the bottom of the description bar too, but where can we find your positive talks?
So I have one that is my personal, and then I have one that's kind of in development.
Okay. We'll have the personal one next to your social.
Yeah, the personal one is
security number. I mean, description bar.
It's in there. It's a very, very fine print.
Yeah.
But it's my first and last name, so it's Sean Hall Yo. That's like my IG and Facebook handle.
Okay.
And the one that's in development is a future podcast that's going to be called like Scrambled Thoughts.
Yep.
And it's basically going to be an extension of that, but just something that's just on a larger scale. Mm-hmm. And that's on IG as well.
So Scrambled Thoughts.
Scrambled right now is Scrambled 1% Thoughts Yo. But I'm gonna
we talked about that being kind of a lot.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm gonna shorten it to like
don't be a menace while sipping juice in the hood.
What? Yeah.
There's more to it than
Don't
that.
be a menace. Don't be a menace South Central while sipping
Gin and juice in the hood?
gin and juice in the hood, something like that.
It was a little paragraph.
Right.
On purpose.
It was a whole paragraph.
That was like the last good movie the Marlins, unpopular opinion, they did.
Scary movie.
First one.
Okay.
It got too rough after that.
Okay.
So but then I'm Gonna Get You Sucker is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. That's a good movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Them goldfish shoes.
$50. Bullshit.
Wait, where was he? That was when he was like, how much is this lick a rib?
No.
What was Chris Rock?
I'm gonna get you sucker.
Where was he like, pour some soda in my hand?
That was, what was that? It was Chris Rock.
Yeah. He was playing a crackhead.
Yeah, but it wasn't, it wasn't Menace to Society. It wasn't Juice.
No, it wasn't. It was something
wasn't.
that was supposed to be funny, I thought. Wasn't it?
It wasn't I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, because he wasn't in that. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and if I keep just spouting them off here, I'm like, I don't know what your thought process
He was like,
is.
why you just pour a little bit in my hand?
Put a little bit in my hand.
God, what was
Let me
that?
smell the ribs.
What was that? Yeah.
Was it Coming to America? No.
No.
Like I said, if I rattle them off, people are gonna be like, you're just naming all the black films you know.
Yeah. I'm gonna Get You Sucker. Remember the pimp when he came out the jail?
That's what I'm saying, the goldfish
He
shoes.
was wearing, the goldfish shoes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
but they were dead because they did the flashback.
Yeah.
When they're like, "Oh, all right, man," and he's like, "All right," and they're like, "Nice shoes," and then like he comes
And
out.
then they start breaking because
Yeah.
he
He's like,
can't walk on.
It was. They used to have his brother. When he came back from the war, his brother had died of an OG. What was that? Gold overdose? Mm-hmm. He had too much gold on it. It was chains. And he was laying there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was good. It was a good movie.
Oh, it's so good, man.
If you know, put in the comments below where the liquor rib sort of my hand thing comes from. Because that was funny.
How much for one rib?
Make it enough. This ain't enough. Make it enough. That's some good stuff.
Oh, that was so good.
So that's going to be your show. I'm excited to see that take shape.
Yeah.
And I know that it's going to be successful because you have a positive mindset. You're locked in on it. You've been doing it this long. And authenticity and consistency over time with anything wins the day, man. So I'm excited to help out in any way I can and just keep watching and keep being inspired by your positivity.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
grateful.
Because that's, like I said, when I first started doing it and when I got that feedback, that's why I do it.
Yeah.
You know, because I want to make an impact in a lot of people's lives. You know, there was one point I just wanted to get on a larger scale and just tell more people.
Yeah.
But, you know, life happened and I kind of drew it back just a little bit. But it's I don't know if you say that's my calling or whatever, but I just know what God presents in front of me.
Yeah, it's a purposeful thing.
That's what I want to present to others, you know?
I think that's an important part of it, though. And the last thing I'll say before I close is that has a lot to do with it, like you said about God, is that you probably didn't do it then because you weren't ready. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm a big believer in the doors. I'm going to get it wrong. Certain doors won't open until you're ready to walk through them. Mm-hmm. You know, and not knowing that that's our plan. So
I agree.
So usually in closing, what I like to do is I like to say something that I'm taking away from today.
Okay.
And so something that I'm definitely taking away from today is that you can choose to be in a positive mindset. Why not be? Right?
Absolutely.
So
why not?
Whenever I am feeling negative, I'm going to really strive to remember that why not be happy right now? Mm-hmm. Because it carries a lot of weight to it. So
think about that first thought. Think about something when you wake up.
Oh yeah.
The one positive thing. That's it.
Yeah.
That first thought. What's something that's positive that happened to me right now? Or you know?
Yeah, it can be like waking up.
Yeah, that's it.
Taking a breath.
That's how it starts.
Being in a bed. There's a lot to be positive around just within your persons when you wake up.
Amen.
So, all right, brother. Thank you very much.
All right, bro.
I'll see you back here soon.
Oh, yeah.
This episode of Mental is brought to you by Spas and More. Visit spasandmorestl.com for more information.